And we are live. We are back here on the old soapbox. Getting some good feedback on a lot of people listening to the life story. I think my next episode I'll probably dive back in there. And the previous one we just talked about with Paul was how to stay fit as a parent. And I think as we dive into these episodes, a few things have, for me, it's highlighted that, I never want to get too preachy or things like that, but that is the nature of a podcast, but also add some value in. And I always have to go back to why I started a podcast, why I did this, is because I have a lot of opinions, I have a lot of thoughts, I spend a lot of time thinking, so I want to be able to share that with you guys. And the other day, it's I was driving. It snowed here, and it's funny because I've noticed a trend, and now that I work at a company that has to make decisions on whether they're open or closed. I own businesses that have to either be opened or closed, and I think the biggest issue that I have with a lot of people is that it's just that they're looking for the easy way out all the time. And I think that, and I was driving, I was like, what do people that I look up to, what characteristics they embody? And excuse me, I really think I heard Tosh say it, like, hard people do hard things. And I really admire and look up to and try to surround myself with people that are hard people that don't shy away from the difficult things. This isn't doing hard things just to do hard things. It's essentially, okay, it's snowing out, but what do I have to do to make it happen, right? For example, it's not, oh, hey, I can't make it to work, I can't do this or that. It's, I'm going to do what it takes to get there. I'm going to wake up, every hour on the hour in the middle of the night, and shovel out my car or shovel my driveway so there's not 14 feet of snow, and it's, whatever it might be. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but since when did we become a society, a group of people that only look for the excuses? And then we as leaders and people in positions of authority have to, empathize and sympathize with people that are like that. And this is just one example, but it's people that are either, whether you're late to something or if something goes wrong, we're always looking to satisfy. We have to be understanding. And, I do understand. Yes, there is understanding, right? But at some point, you just have to get the job done. You have to be hard. You have to be hardened. And I don't think this is a skill set that is innate. I don't think that this is something that, it's like, oh, you either have it or you don't. No, it's a choice. Because it's whether you've been doing this your whole life or you've been doing it for 5 days, it's still difficult, it's still challenging, and you still have self-doubt and all these things. And so I think that what I really want to get across here is that you have to consciously make a choice to do hard things. You have to consciously make a choice to do the right thing, to almost, and I've said this before, measure twice and cut once, just do the job correctly. And sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it's harder, sometimes it's monotonous, but we have to do the job correctly. And I think that a lot of people shy away from things like that nowadays because of, I don't know the answer. I don't know why people do it. There's a lot of people point the finger like laziness or blame. But there's a root cause to anything. And what I really think it comes down to is people in their life have struggled to find things where they actually see task accomplishment, and that task accomplishment lead to fulfillment. What that means is, I go back to when I used to work construction, and it was such a fulfilling day. It was hard work, but we would physically do things. I would, we would, there would be just a plot of land, you'd dig a hole, but at the end of the day, you have a hole in it, or you'd build something, you'd move things, you'd see physical change, and you'd see your labor, your work actually do something. And I really think that matters, because it's so, you got to feel that. And as it's easy when you coach, you do see that in the world of CrossFit and coaching, but even still, it's a little more esoteric. And, the longer that you coach, or the more athletes you coach, it's not going to happen as often. And it's going to take some time to see some pretty, substantial changes in certain athletes. But there is something to be said, just a few hours ago, I put up some shelving in the basement. And it's a really cool feeling to start with nothing and finish with a product, and something that wasn't there before. I did that, and of course it took work. It was a project. It was start to finish. And I think that if whoever's out there listening to this, and if you're like, trying to find something, you need to find something in your life that brings you purpose. But whatever that purpose is, you need to find sanctuary in the process. And the process can be difficult. And also, everything you do doesn't need to lead back to some greater cause. It can just be executing that task in the moment to get the job done. There doesn't need to be this massive higher meaning. Because usually, if you're doing the right things for the right reasons for the right people, then that will happen. But when I'm building my shelf, I'm not like, I'm really advancing humanity here. And nor do I care, right? I just want to get the job done, and I want to do it to the best of my ability. I want to be proud of it, and I do want to share what I do with other people, whether that's my wife or whomever. And there's nothing wrong with that either. And but stop finding excuses. Just do hard shit. Hard people do hard things. We have to shy away from this notion of the easy way out. Yes, work smarter, not harder. But you know what? There is something to be said where, just go hike up a mountain for 24 hours. Or, I have so many people in my life that do things. I'm like, God, they're they just do things that are so awe-inspiring. And what inspires me about it is it's impressive, because they're just doing hard things that they don't have to. They could have found another way to do it. They could have done something different. And I think that's what's impressive, is that there's you have one side of the equation. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yes, but there are times where you should do something because you can. And I think that is important. You should do something in your life from time to time because you can, because you have the ability to. And these things don't define you, but they shape you. And we have to stop living based off what we think other people think, or what this norm is. Set the example for yourself. You be the example. You be the norm. Just change the narrative to, I go back to work-life balance all the time. Work-life balance. And, you need a work-life balance. I think what do you need is, and I've said this before, you need a counterbalance, right? And but if you want to be truly great at anything, no, you're not going to have balance. Come on. You need to actually make sacrifices. If you want to be mediocre, great, be mediocre and just go right down the middle. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want, but just don't complain. The people that I see in life, they make sacrifices, and whatever that might be. And again, you have to just surround yourself with the right people. And I just think about life. What is it like? You have choices every moment. Why would I want to sit on the couch and watch TV? Why? If I could go do something productive. That's just the way I think. Now, yeah, I do, and this is, don't go wild and crazy on me. Be like, well, you need to relax, you need to recharge your batteries. I agree. And everyone recharges the batteries different ways. But again, find something to do productive and make a change, and you're going to feel great. You'll feel accomplished. If you are unhappy, if you are you feel unfulfilled day after day, well, that's your fault. It's no one else's fault. And that's something that's really, really important to understand, is that it's no one else's fault but yours. And that's what doing hard things can help you understand. Go out and do something you've never done before. Just don't allow an excuse to happen, because you're going to do something, and to everyone else it might just be showing up to work. It might just be the lawn is mowed. It might just be that the snow is shoveled, whatever it might be. The house is clean. But to you, you're like, well, I did that. And instead of me, watching TV or watching a movie or doing this or doing that, I made the conscious choice to do this. And that's a very empowering feeling. So I think that's something that is important. And again, this, don't get me wrong, this also goes into the other side of things when it comes to your relationships and communication, and what does that look like? Hard people do hard things. Well, the hardest things you can do from a psychological and emotional thing is to sit down and talk to your partner and have real conversations about things that you're challenged with, things that are challenging for you, whether it is your intimacy, whether it is your happiness, whatever it might be. But you need to have that conversation, and that's hard to do. And I think that it's easy to shy away from that. It's easy to stay surface level. So this is hard people do hard things, and I didn't make that up. I just really love it, and it's true. It's like, this is from digging out of your driveway to building something in your backyard, to talking to your husband, your wife, or your partner, whomever it might be, your family, your friends. Having those hard conversations, knowing that you might fail miraculously, knowing that you might make a mistake, you might lose a friend, get in a really big argument, whatever it might be. But like, those things, you need to have those if you really truly want to be liberated and happy. And by no means do I feel like I'm some sort of guru or happy. No, like, I'm plagued by my own challenges and weaknesses and anxieties and all that stuff, but I try to talk about it. I do find this podcast very cathartic for me because I can talk about it, and I hope I don't bore you. But these are things that we have to think about. And I was telling someone the other day, like there are days where I drive home from work, sometimes 45 minutes in just silence, and I just think, like, that for me is recharging the battery. That's what I do. And so when I come home, I can be full speed with my daughter. I can work out again. Like, I recharge the batteries by becoming, I look inside, introspective, and where I'm an extrovert and I'm talking to people all day, and it gives me that time to just center. So again, I want to keep this short and sweet. We're about 13 minutes in. I hope this added some value to you guys. It was something on the top of my mind. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to give that to you guys. But don't shy away and get shit done. Set the example. Be the example. You lead. When people say lead from the front, that's what it means. Be the first one there and the last one out. Never make excuses. If someone says, "Hey, why weren't you there?" Be like, "You know what? I should have been there, and I apologize." Don't say why you weren't there. Just own that shit. That's hard to do. Own it. Whatever it is, own it. And be a man, be a woman, be whoever you want to be in that moment, and stand up for yourself and who you are. And that's important. And that's what I got for you. So stop shying away, make it done. Stop giving excuses, and just execute. Because those people are the ones that make changes, and that also lead and inspire and pave the way. That's what I got for you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. This is Soapbox with Austin Malleolo. Hit me up with questions. I really love the feedback. Share the podcast. Let people know. I try to keep it under 20 minutes because not everybody's commutes 45 minutes. So again, if I'll talk about anything, I'm going to hit up the old life story, continue that on the next one, and we'll keep diving in. See you on the other side.